everyone, and welcome back to the channel. This is going to be the sound demo for the Polk Audio L200 bookshelf speakers. As you can see here in front of me, they are pulled away from the wall roughly 10 inches or so. They are bi-wired in the back on each speaker. They're being processed by the Marantz 7705 processor, played in pure direct mode, meaning all electrical interference is gone, and then their speakers are getting 200 watts from the monolith amplifier.
still got the vibe.
Alright guys, so I usually don't get really technical in my videos because my audience doesn't really call for that. But if you're looking at the L200 bookshelf speakers, you're going to want some serious feedback on how they sound. So I'm going to give you cutthroat exactly how I feel about these speakers. And to start off with, I'm absolutely blown away. This is my first time listening to these speakers in a music application, and they sound phenomenal. And like I said, they're pulled off away from the wall. There's no boundary gain issues. They're powered by a really good amplifier, getting all the juice that it can ask for on a really good processor. So we're getting a really good idea of how these things sound. Now, I did record in a stereo microphone, so if you didn't listen with headphones or if you didn't listen on a good home theater system, go back and watch it again on some headphones so you can get an idea of what these sound like, because they sound phenomenal. So let's start off with what really captured me first. In the first few songs, it was just pianos and different instruments, and it really gave me an idea of what this new tweeter sounds like. And let me tell you, that extra 10 kilohertz that you're getting with the new series is great. 50,000 kilohertz performance versus the previous series of 40,000. That new tweeter is something else. That extra shine, sparkle, shimmer, upper register that I was looking for in the old series is in the new series now, and it makes a night and day difference with how detailed pianos and string instruments and things you have to pluck. They sound so good, so good. One of the biggest things that I really appreciated with the L200s was the dispersion. I was standing in different parts of the room. I wasn't exactly always in the middle. I went off to the right and went off to the left, and when I was recording, and man, it sounded so good on multiple different parts of the room. I felt like I was in the middle, in between both speakers at any point of the room, meaning I had stereo imaging from a wide range of places in the room, and that's what you want when you're listening to music. You want to feel like you're right there. If you close your eyes, you want to feel like you hear the piano here, and you hear the drums, you hear the vocalist. You want to hear that. You want to be able to imagine that. And these speakers were able to replicate that in a wide range, not just one spot of the couch, but just about every part of the backside of the room sounded really good. That new tweeter is something else. That alone is a reason to upgrade from the Polk Audio LSIMs. That new tweeter really brought out the vocals with the female voices that you heard, really brought it out and brought it center right forward for you, which is where you want the vocals to be, right in the front of everything. So you want the piano and the violin and the guitar to kind of fall back and let the vocals be the front stage. And that's what these did very, very well with a couple of those songs. On the instrumental music with the classical, that's the first songs you heard, jazz and classical, you were able to hear that piano, pluck, pluck, pluck. You could really hear that pianist tapping on that key and then it being strung. It sounded really, really good. I wish I could tell you more through a YouTube video, but you're gonna have to hear it for yourself. These things actually wowed me as soon as I put them on. And again, these are broken in already. I'm not the first person to review these, so they're already broken in. I know exactly what they're supposed to be sounding like, and it's something else. So that new tweeter right there alone is something worth upgrading if you have the old LSIM bookshelves or the old LSIM series. These sound really good for music, really good for music. Now brings me to my next point, which is the bass response. Now, this is a good remark and a bad remark, but we'll start off with the bad remark. So, I think the weakest point of this stereo system here is the bass. And it's not the lack of bass, it's actually too much of it. So again, I had it in pure direct mode, so it was just whatever the speakers sound like versus whatever the monolith sounded like. No extra amplification, no extra tuning, EQ, nothing was present in the sound demo. So whatever these speakers wanted to do is what they were doing. And for me, it had a really strong bass around maybe 50 up to, I don't know, maybe 200, 250 hertz, really strong. And it actually overpowered the sound to the point where it sounded muffled, especially in that hip hop beat that I was playing at the end. It didn't sound very good at all. The tweeter, it's been changed, but I feel like the mid-range driver is overpowering it during some portions. It sounded really, really good and balanced during jazz, blues, classical, and acoustic music. It sounded really, really clean and uniform during those tracks. But when it came to the hip hop or the jazz that had the upbeat tempo or something like that had a big long bass line, a doom, 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 anything like that, it overpowered the rest of the system. So me personally, if I could have, I would have toned down the bass in a certain amount of, in certain regencies, the mid-range. I think it was just a little bit too overpowering to the point where it sounded bloated. I can't change the EQ in direct mode, so whatever the speakers sound like is what it sounds like. But if I was running Odyssey or MCACC, I would go back and I'd probably knock down a few decibels in my mid-range area to tame it a little bit because it needed it during some of those tracks. You do need a subwoofer with this system if you're going to use it for music and movies. Again, it sounded really good. It's rated to get down to 36 hertz. You're not going to really hear it. It's not going to be prominent. Its specialty is around 46 on upward. It does really well there, and maybe too well around 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. It's a little too good on those ranges there. But when you're hitting below 45, it drops immediately. I mean immediately. It goes like 50, okay, 50, 49, okay, 47, gone, 45, gone. It just drops off really quickly. So we're gonna wanna put a subwoofer, and if you're using this for music only, I recommend an 8-inch subwoofer or a really good 10-inch subwoofer. I wouldn't go anything higher than a 10-inch subwoofer because you're gonna really ruin the characteristics of these speakers. So I recommend an 8-inch or a 10-inch rail speed woofer, something like that. SVS's PV1000 would go really good with these, or even a SP2000 would go really good with these, or a 2000 Pro. So I recommend those if you're gonna use subwoofer for these, because you're gonna need it to fill in the low end. But you know, it's not missing a lot. It just needs some help when it gets to the bottom end. So the bass was kind of its weak point. It was too much, but at the same time, having that mid-range for the jazz and for the acoustic and for the classical portions where the piano and there's a bass line, it sounded really good, really smooth, really smooth. So these speakers really like classical music, operatic music maybe, and then jazz music, and not so much hip hop, R&B. I think they would do good with rock. I didn't play any rock, but they probably do really good with rock because of that 60 hertz kick drum. They'd probably really like that. So I think those genres are what it's at best. So that's just my personal opinion from what I heard. Now, I don't want to make this review too long, and it was already long, but I don't want to make it too long talking. But I do want to say, if I had to guess how these would do with movies, which we'll test next week, if I had to guess how these would do with movies, I think they would do excellent. You want to pair them with subwoofer, absolutely. You really do, because at high volumes, at low frequencies, you're going to destroy them. So you're really going to want a really good subwoofer that's going to be able to pick up probably around 70. And then take it over from there, because after like 45, 50, these things are pretty much obsolete. They're just absent-minded. So you really want to subwoofer these, but I think they're going to do really good at movies. If you were to put these on a front stage as your left and right and then your center there, I think that they would do pretty good actually. And we're going to test that out next week, and probably maybe Monday's video, maybe Wednesday's video, one of those two videos. But we're going to do some more testing with these, and we're going to put them head to head as well against the LSIM to really hear what the differences are. But we'll do all that stuff next week. So the last thing I want to say about these speakers is that the stereo imaging, man, is just something to die for. Sitting in the sweet spot, sitting off axis, it sounded so good. That tweeter is something else. And this is the L200s. I don't know what the L600s sound like, the L800s. Those are the big daddies, right? So these little guys right here are really impressing me. So I'm really hoping I can get my hands on their center channel and the two towers, hopefully. because these things sound phenomenal, and I'm very impressed, and I want them. I want them. So I hope this review helps you guys out. If you are coming from the LSIM series and you're thinking, is it worth the upgrade? Absolutely. These things, their stereo imaging is something just by itself to die for. Their mid-range isn't that terrible. It could be tweaked. The crossover could be different maybe. But it's not a deal breaker. I think they're still well worth getting and replacing the old 703s, the old bookshelves. So that's gonna be it for, I know I talked a lot, but I really wanted to let you guys know, for those who really care about music, I want to let you guys know exactly how I feel about them. Fantastic. I think so far they're worth their price point at $17.99. They're worth it there. I have to see what else they can do. I'll do some more playing around, and of course I'll make videos on it and we'll talk about it together. So guys, leave me a comment down below based off what you guys heard on your end. What do you guys think about the L200 so far from music? Do they sound good, bloated? Maybe they're missing something or too much of one thing? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, let me know if you've heard these yourself. If not, go out there and listen to them. Leave me a comment down below. Hit that like button. We'll TKO it today. TKO that like button. Also TKO that subscribe button if you haven't already. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Kpaceguy out. Peace.